We continue now at the top of Daf Kufchav Dalet Amud Beis in Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 124b. On the previous summer, there was a machlokas tanoim. Let's say a father leaves over property, and then it improves memela. It improves automatically. Does a bechor get a double portion of the shevach that comes memela? The Rabbanan say the bechor does not get a double portion of that, and Rebbe says that the bechor does get a double portion of that. And on the previous summer, Reb Chia said, whoever rules like the Rabbanan, that's fine. And if you rule like Rebbe, that's also fine. And the Gemara now explains Mesafkele because he is in doubt. I halacha kirevi mechavero velo mechavero. Is the halacha like Rebbe when he's arguing with one colleague, but not if he's arguing with a majority? O halacha kirevi mechavero vafilo mechavero. Or maybe the halacha is like Rebbe when he's arguing with one individual, but even if he's arguing mechaverov, even if he's arguing with multiple individuals, still the halacha is like Rebbe, and therefore, since Rabbi Chia is in doubt about that, that's why whatever a judge rules, that's going to be considered to be a good ruling. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav. Rav Nachman says that Rav says, Asur lasos kedivrei Rebbe. It's forbidden to rule like Rebbe, kasavar halacha kirevi mechavero velo mechaverov, because he holds that the halacha is like Rebbe when he's against one colleague, but not when he's against a majority. For Rav Nachman didei Amar, and Rav Nachman himself says, mutter lasos kedivrei Rebbe. It is mutter to follow the ruling of Rebbe, kasavar halacha kirevi mechavero va'afilo mechavero. If he holds the halachas like Rebbe over his colleague, and even if it's many colleagues. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rava. Rava says, Asur lasos kedivrei Rebbe. It's forbidden to follow Rebbe's opinion. Vim asa asur, but if one followed Rebbe's opinion, so what's done is done. Kasavar, because Rava holds matan itmar, what was stated was matan. And the Rashbam explains matan itmar kach nemar bebeis hamedrash. What was said in the beis medrash was as follows: matan es hadin achar divrei chachamim lodin kein lechatchila. Lechatchila we follow the chachamim. Umiu, but nevertheless, he avad kerebi avad. If a person rules like Rebbe, then that's good. V'lo mahadrinan uvda. We're not going to go back on the ruling. That's how we explain anytime the Gemara uses the term matin itmar. That's what we say explicitly in Meseches Ksubis. And the Gemara continues, Tani Rav Nachman b'shar sifrei devei Rav. Rav Nachman taught in the other sifrei devei Rav, which the Rashbam will explain. The pasuk says, "B'chol asher yimotzei lo." It says that anything that he essentially has possession of, that we say the bechor gets a double portion. Prat l'shevach sheishbichu yorshin liachar misas avi, and that excludes any kind of improvements that the yorshim, that they cause those improvements after the death of their father, that the bechor doesn't get a double portion of. Avol shevach sheshivchu nechasim liachar misas avian. But let's say it's improvements that happened automatically after the death of their father, so shakel, so that the bechor would take a double portion of. And the Gemara says, Umani, now who is the author of this? Rebbe. This follows Rebbe. Again, Rebbe says that the bechor gets a double portion of that which improves memela. And the Rashbam explains, B'shar sifrei devei Rav, sifra devei Rav, when we refer to the sifra devei Rav, hainu Toras Kohanim, Braisa shel Sefer Vayikra. That refers to Toras Kohanim, which is the Braisa of Sefer Vayikra. Sha'ar sifrei devei Rav, when we talk about the Sha'ar sifrei devei Rav, which our Gemara mentions, Korei l'midrash shel Sefer Bamidbar. That's the medrash that's found in Sefer Bamidbar, mi v'yishlechu min amachna at sofa Sefer, from the pasuk of v'yishlechu until the end of the Sefer, Eila Dvarim, u'mechilta dahainu medrash Eila Shemos, me'hachodesh hazel lachem at sofa Sefer, and the mechilta, which is the medrash of Shemos, from hachodesh hazel lachem until the end of the Sefer, kulu, all of that, ikris sha'ar sifrei devei Rav, all of that was just mentioned is called sha'ar sifrei devei Rav, v'hainu da'amrinan bi'alma, that's what we say in general, stam masnisin Rabbi Meir, we say that in general an unattributed Mishnah is Rabbi Meir, stam sifra Rabbi Yehuda, stam sifra is Rabbi Yehuda, stam sifri Rabbi Shimon, the stam sifri is Rabbi Shimon, stam seder olam Rabbi Yossi, the stam seder olam is Rabbi Yossi, and stam tosefta Rabbi Nechemya, the stam tosefta is Rabbi Nechemya, v'kulan, and all of these aliba de Rabbi Akiva, they fundamentally follow the shita of Rabbi Akiva. And the Gemara continues, Tani Rami Bar Chama b'shar sifrei devei Rav. Rami Bar Chama taught in shar sifrei devei Rav, b'chol asher yimotzei lo. Again, the pasuk says b'chol asher yimotzei lo prat l'shevach sheshivchu nechasim la'achar misas avi, and the way that he learns is that excludes improvements that happen even automatically after the death of their father. V'chol shekein shevach sheshbichu yorshin la'achar misas avi, and certainly when it's improvements that the yorshim cause after the death of their father, the lo shakel, the bechor will not take a double portion of that. And the Gemara says umani, and who does this follow? Rabbanan, he that would follow the Rabbanan, that the bechor does not take the improvements even if they happen automatically. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda says that Shmuel says, Ein bechor notel pishnayim b'milva. A bechor does not take a double portion of a loan that is being collected. And the Gemara says, Laman, now who are we following? Ilema l'Rabbanan, if you say we're following the Rabbanan, Hashda shivcha de'isei bereshusei amri Rabbanan lo shakel. The Rabbanan already say that improvement that happens in his possession, that automatic improvement, the Rabbanan already said that the Bechor does not take a double portion. So milva miboy, do we even need to say that's true by a loan? It seems too obvious according to the Rabbanan. So Ela l'Rebbe, so rather you're going to say that Shmuel is talking according to Rebbe, and again Rebbe says that the Bechor does take a double portion when it comes to the Shevach Memela, and so now we're saying that that is not the case by a loan. V'Ela hadatanya, but what about the following brisa? Yarshu shtarchov, it says that if they inherit a shtarchov, Bechor notel pishnayim, the Bechor does take a double portion. Bein b'milva, bein b'ribis, and that's true whether it's the actual principal part of the loan, or even if it's interest on the loan, he's going to get a double portion. So money, lo Rebbe v'lo Rabbanan, that brisa, who does that follow? It doesn't follow Rebbe or the Rabbanan, because now we're saying that according to Rebbe, you don't get a double portion from the loans. And the Gemara says, Liolam l'Rabbanan, really, when Shmuel made this statement that the Bechor does not take a double portion of a milva, he was following the Rabbanan. Question is, if he's following the Rabbanan, it seems so obvious. You don't even get double portion of the Shevach Memela. But the Gemara says, V'itzrich, no, it was necessary to teach this. Because one might have thought, milva kevan denokit shtara, when it comes to a loan, since there's actually a document that's being held, it's in physical possession, command de gav yadamya, so maybe it's as if it's already been collected, and maybe that the Bechor would get a double portion, so kamash malon, so that's what Shmuel is saying. He's teaching us that according to the Rabbanan, the Bechor does not get a double portion from those loans. And the Gemara continues, shalchu mitam, they sent from there, Bechor notel pishnayim b'milveh, the Bechor does get a double portion when it comes to the principal part of the loan, avolo beribis, but he does not get a double portion of any kind of interest that's coming from the loan. And the Gemara says, Laman, now who are we following? Ilema l'Rabbanan, if you say we're following the Rabbanan, hashta shivcha de'isei bereshusei am Rabbanan delo shakel. Again, when it comes to the improvement that happens in his possession automatically, the Rabbanan say he doesn't get a double portion. So milva miboy, do we even need to say by a loan? Of course he's not going to get a double portion by the loan, so we can't be following that. So Ela l'Rebbe, so rather you're going to say we're following Rebbe. And that would mean that Rebbe is saying that the Bechor gets a double portion of the loan, but not of the ribis, not of the interest. But ula Rebbe beribis lo, is that really true that according to Rebbe, the Bechor does not get a double portion of the interest? V'atanya, but didn't we learn in a brisa, Rebbe Yomer, Rebbe says, Bechor notel pishnayim bein b'milva bein beribis. The Bechor gets a double portion whether the principal part of the loan or the interest, he gets a double portion. And so the Gemara says, Liolam Rabbanan, he really were going to say that this statement of the Shalchu Mitam really is the Rabbanan, umilva command gav yadami, and according to this position, the Rabbanan would say that the principal part of the loan is as if it's already collected, so that he does get a double portion, but he's not going to get a double portion of the ribis. And the Rashbam explains, B'milva shalovet kochavim, we're talking here about a loan with a non-Jew, that's why there's ribis. And so again, the ruling of the Shalchu Mitam, the ruling from Eretz Yisrael, is to make a distinction between the principle of a lo beribis, but now when it comes to the ribis, the interest, the Bechor does not get a double portion, afal pisha kosav b'shtar, even though the ribis is written into the document. Umilva command the gav yadamya, and in general, a loan is like it's collected already, hoel v'noket shtar, because the guy's holding the shtar, aval ribis, but when it comes to the interest, afagav the noket shtar, even though he's holding the shtar, uchvar over hazman mishameis aviv, in the times already passed from the time that the father died, lo, still the Bechor does not get a double portion. De'ein loch roy, because there's nothing more roy than this. It's not possession. Davar shelo haya shalom me'olam. This is something that was never his. It's just interest on a loan, but the actual principal part of the loan, again, that's considered something that he's enough in possession of that the Bechor will get a double portion. And the Rashbam notes, Hada shalchu mitam, this ruling of the shalchu mitam from Eretz Yisrael, pliga ahach de Rav Yehuda mar Shmuel de Le'el, that argues on Shmuel's ruling earlier. V'tarvayu ali b'derabbanan, both of these rulings are according to the Rabbanan. Mar mashvile muchsa kevan denokit shtar, one says that the person's considered muchsa because he's holding a shtar. Umar lo chayish l'shtar, the other one says that it doesn't matter that you're holding a shtar, the niyara bi'almo, it's just a piece of paper. And so that's why, again, there's a machlokas in terms of the principle, but everybody would agree that the interest, that the Bechor does not get a double portion according to the Rabbanan. And the Gemara continues, Amar le Ravacha bar Rav l'Ravina, Ravacha bar Rav said to Ravina, Ikla ameimar li'asran, ameimar came to our place, v'darish, and he darshaned, he ruled as follows, Bechor notel pishnayim b'milva avalo beribis, the Bechor takes a double portion from the principal part of the loan, but not from the interest part of the loan. Amar le, he said to him, Nahardoi l'tamayu, this is Nahardoi following their opinion, Diyamar Rabba, because Rabba says, Gavu karka, let's say they collect land as a collection of the debt, so then yeshlo, so then the Bechor does get a double double portion of the collection. Gavu mos ein lo, but if they collect money as a collection of their debt, then he does not get a double portion of that. For Rav Nachman Amar, but Rav Nachman says, Rav Nachman is nahardoi. Rav Nachman says, Gavu mos yeshlo, if they collect money, then he does get a double portion. Gava karka ein lo, but if they collect land as a collection of the debt, then he does not get a double portion of that. And the Gemara continues, Amar le Abaya le Rabba, Abaya said to Rabba, le didach kasha, le Rav Nachman kasha. According to you it's difficult, and according to Rav Nachman it's difficult. Le didach kasha, according to you it's difficult. And the Rashbam explains, Nahardoi l'tamayu, this is Nahardoi according to their reasoning, Ameimar ka Rav Nachman svirale. The idea is here that Ameimar holds like Rav Nachman, the Tarvayu havim in Nahardoi, both of them were from Nahardoi. Kedamar Ameimar anomi Nahardoi ano svirali, like it says that Ameimar says, I am from Nahardoi, and I hold the following. The Tarvayu sviralahu, the point is that they both hold, both Ameimar and Rav Nachman hold, the mo'os sha'adam chayiv l'chaveiro havim muchzak bohen, that when it comes to money, if there's an obligation of money, then we say the person is muchzak. Gavu karkan, if they collect land, bechov milva avi, and if they're collecting land as a collection of the debt, ein lo lebechor pishnayim, then the bechor does not get double. Demos hilveyu velo karka, because what was lent? Money was lent, not land. Avol gavu mos, but if money is being collected, yesh lo, then he does get a double portion. Sharei mos hilveyu uvemos chashvinan le muchzak, because he lent him money, so when it comes to money, he's considered muchzak. And the Rashbam continues, aliba de shalchu mitam. Now all of this is according to the shalchu mitam that says that you're allowed to collect, the Bechor gets a double portion of milva. V'hainu ka'ameimar dedorash Bechor notel pishnayim b'milva dahainu mos, and that's what we mean to say. Ameimar is saying that a Bechor gets double by a loan when collecting money. Rav Nachman lefrushay asa hide the shalchu mitam. Rav Nachman is explaining the shalchu mitam. Bechor notel pishnayim b'milva, the idea that a Bechor gets double when it comes to a loan. But the Rashbam continues, v'li nir, it seems to me, the haida amrina nahardoi l'tamai, when we say that nahardoi is following its reasoning, lo bo l'mai divrei Rabba, we're not trying to say to exclude what Rabba said. Again, Rabba had it in the reverse. When you're collecting land, that's when we say it gets a double portion. Diamar gavu karka yeshlo, Rabba said that it's a collection of land that the Bechor gets double. Deha ameimar stam madarish, and the reason why is because Ameimar was just saying stam. He was saying a general rule. Bechor notel pishnayim b'milva, that a Bechor gets a double portion by a loan. Loshna karka v'loshna mos, doesn't matter if it's land or money. Ela lemuute mid Rav Yehuda mar Shmuel also. The point over here is to say that we're excluding Rav Yehuda mar Shmuel that we had earlier. To Amar Le'el, because he said earlier, Aliba de Rabbanan, he said earlier according to the Rabbanan, De'ena Bechor notel pishnayim b'milva, that a Bechor doesn't take double by a loan at all. V'ameimar svira le ke the shalchu mitam, and Ameimar is holding like the shalchu mitam, uch Rav Nachman v'Rabba, and also like Rav Nachman and Rabba, the svira lehu that they hold ke the shalchu mitam, like the shalchu mitam, that in general a Bechor gets a double portion when collecting a loan. And the Rashbam continues, Gava karka mi balchov yesh lo lebechor pishnayim. Let's say land is collected, so then the Bechor gets doubled. The high karka ishtabed lavu and bechayev. According to this approach, the land is, there was already a shibud on the land while the father was alive. It's like having collateral. There he's considered to be in possession. Litol habechor pishnayim, for the Bechor to take double. That's the way that Rabba views it. Gavu mo sein lo, but according to Rabba, if the collection is of money, then he doesn't get double. The milva lo hotzanin, because the money's already spent. That's what a loan is for. V'hani mos achrini ninu, this is different money. Ucheilo lo huchzak ba mavi, and it's as if the father did not have possession. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Chav Hey Amud Aleph.